How are you there? A Donald Trump presidency is one of the greatest risks that we face as the world right now. With Donald Trump seeking to enter 2024 election race in the United States under the Republican uh, ballot, I cannot help but view this accordingly. It will be bad for the world if Donald Trump becomes the United States president and becomes the most powerful man who leads the world. And I'll tell you why. Because Donald Trump is a Vladimir Putin apologist. He almost looks like or sounds like Putin's puppet. He's friends with North Korea, congratulating North Korea for being in the World Health Organization. His only good thing that he understands about the American politics or the American survival is that China is a problem to the American economy. But if you understand, Mr. Trump, that China is a problem, you must also recognize that China is the country that is aiding Russia to win a war in Europe. China is the biggest buyer of Russian oil. Therefore, China is an enabler of the Putin regime. The Putin regime that is Donald Trump's friend. So if Mr. Trump is against China on the basis of the economics, you should understand that that economics also extend to other global security issues that arise from what do you call it? That arise from Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Many people just look at it as one country invading another country, but they do not look at the bigger picture that we are not merely against a Putin invading a sovereign state, but it is the intentions of Putin, not only now, but in the long run. We already know that he wants to re-establish the old Soviet bloc, and he is supported by the Chinese. And we already know that he is on a war path with NATO, which means that it will progress to having a war in Europe. And a war in Europe bringing about a destruction in Europe, destabilizing also even the United States, is destabilizing to the whole world. It is a fear that everybody around the world should try uh, to work against. So a lot of people, especially black people in Africa who support Putin, they don't have all the facts right. They just see America is against Putin and they hate America. So they just support Putin on the basis that somebody has to stand up against America. But do you know that the America that you hate is actually the America that is keeping the whole world as it is? The whole global system is intact because of American hegemony. I do believe that American hegemony is a good thing, by the way, unlike other people who are ruled by their emotions, or black people who just don't like white people ruled by their emotions. They just want to be anti-American for the sake of anti-American to please their emotions. When in actual fact, they too rely on America. They listen to American music, watch American movies, use American dollars, use American financial system, and are protected by the American political system. Their rights are preserved by the American political system. So what Vladimir Putin represents is a communist Soviet political system that does not protect human rights. In fact, it erodes human rights, does not respect the sovereignty of states and the rights of people in foreign lands. Look at what they're doing to the Ukrainians. They are killing the Ukrainians. If Putin was a friend of Ukraine, you would have, I don't know what operation was there to do, because it's killing people. It's killing people all over the place, destroying Ukraine. And Donald Trump likes that it is friend. Look at Wagner Group is doing in Africa. It is killing people and stealing resources. Look what him and Belarus are doing to Zimbabwe. They're destroying our livelihood, destroying the economy, stealing the whole mining industry together with Emerson Mnangagwa. Look at what Putin is doing around Africa and around Latin America and all the countries that are supportive of this uh, Ukraine, this Russian China axis. All of these countries are run by despots and they undermine basic human rights, something which the United States stands against, something that the United States has been able to fight for throughout the whole world. So perhaps the Americans might have stepped on someone's toes on their pursuit for global peace, or in their approach to global policing, that has caused some people who cannot heal to fear eh, to fear. I don't know. I cannot call it fear because I cannot call it fear of American dominance, because America is already dominating. They just don't. They've got this hatred, which which perhaps stems from jealousy or stems from unresolved colonial pains. Okay, the colonial pains are real, perhaps justified, but if they get to be unresolved, they become unhealthy, and then you begin to have this anti American rhetoric in Africa, which is very much pushed by Putin's propaganda and makes it helps Putin to deeply entrench his propaganda and his diplomacy into Africa to the detriment of the African citizens. We see here in South Africa that Vladimir Putin has deeply entrenched his tentacles inside the ANC, and opposition leaders like Julius Malema of the EFF have also been hooked into this Putin Putin side, thinking that there's something good that comes out of Putin. Listen here, even the Russians are living under fear in Putin's Russia. Democracy is not something that you can, there's no democracy in Russia. People right now, because of this war, a lot of Russians are running away from Russia because they are afraid of being conscripted into Putin's army to fight in Ukraine. Same thing with Chinese. There's a lot of Chinese citizens, Chinese millionaires and billionaires that are running away from China to become citizens of other countries because of the lack of democracy and undermining of human rights in these two countries, China and Russia, that have grouped together. So you see that this war is bigger than just Ukraine. It is a global crisis. And when I'm listening to GOP candidates like Nikki Haley, who truly, to me, she is the embodiment of what the United States president should be. It is unfortunate that the American citizens, okay, especially Republican voters, to me, they don't have sufficient wisdom, because instead of looking at the key issues and recognizing that Nikki Haley is actually the one that can lead America and make America great again and make the whole world better and safer, they're most likely to go to that for the childish Donald Trump. I do not know why, because he's a celebrity. I think the Americans have got a problem with this celebrity culture of Hollywood. It influences them. Once someone is on TV and is a celebrity, is a billionaire, they just vote for that person. They don't even care what that person thinks. I mean, they would. I'm sure if Kanye West were to want to be a president, I mean, even if he had to go under the Democratic ticket, a lot of Americans will vote for him. I mean, Kanye West is crazy. He's a crazy guy. He's super talented. I like his music. I've always loved the music of Kanye West. He's a talented producer. Period. He's not a politician. All right. He's a paparazzi guy. He can make headlines. He can be a celebrity. He is a celebrity. But he cannot be a politician. He doesn't understand what's going on in the world. It's crazy. But it's the same thing with Donald Trump. He's just a he's a celebrity. He was a host of The Apprentice, and he's a billionaire. He made money through real estate. Fair enough. I accept that he's a shrewd businessman. He's done very well in business, and better than most people. But he's terrible at politics. You see, the reason why I do not want Donald Trump to the president of the United States is not because I hate him. I actually like Donald Trump, and I've had financial windfall because of I mean, I've had personal financial windfall because of Donald Trump's businesses or being involved with people with close proximity to Trump. But for the sake of global security, I believe Trump has to either change his approach to politics, his policies, and break away from Putin and North Korea. He cannot be speaking about Putin and North Korea in terms that are friendly when we know that these guys are the real threat to global order. And Donald Trump wants to lead the most dominant power in the whole world, the United States, whilst he's being friendly with the biggest threat that this globe has faced so far, which is Vladimir Putin. So it's strange that the GOP allows such an a candidate to shine under their slate. But perhaps in America, democracy works that way. Anybody who wants to lift their hands, they say they want to lead the state their issues. But I think also maybe the failure of American media, well, I cannot blame them, but that's what it is. Failing to educate the Americans of what United States is. I'm beginning to see that the ordinary Americans do not understand what it means to be a superpower. You say the thing, it's one will say, why am I interfering in American politics? I will tell you why. Because the guy who leads the United States leads the whole world. He affects me. If there's a direct impact on my life and your life, or I mean what am I saying? I'm saying that the presidency of the United States has got a direct impact on my life and your life. So it is important for us to know who is the leader of the United States. And the thing is, the person who chooses the leader of the United States is American citizens. And I am bashing them. I'm just giving them a 0 out of 10, the American citizens. Because I can't believe how they can actually vote for Donald Trump. But actually, as I look further, as I study further, I understand why. The American citizens have got no clue of what is the threat that the world is facing right now. Vladimir Putin is a threat to the whole world. That Vladimir Putin, China, Axis, and their whole attempt to subvert law and order around the world is the biggest threat that the world faces. And Donald Trump support that. And the American voters, they don't know that. They are busy watching Netflix and seeing Donald Trump in these no, these comedies where the roast Donald Trump is laughing with celebrities, big celebrities. Then the voters think that, oh, that guy must be smart. He's a billionaire. He must be smart. Yeah, he is smart in real estate, not smart in leading the whole world. So, I mean, this is an indictment on the American public. Okay, I just feel like, how can the whole country rally around someone like that? But it's very simple. It's because the country doesn't understand. Okay, American citizens are people that find themselves belonging to a country that is the most powerful in the world, running the world. But most of the Americans don't understand what that is, are not even interested. So they vote according to, oh, it's Donald Trump. Oh, he's got nice hair. Oh, he's got a nice he's got a nice beach house in Florida. We're gonna vote for him. All right. Oh, so Chris Christie, uh, uh, we don't like him, and Donald Trump makes a mockery with, I mean, about Christie's weight, and the Americans, they buy into that. Chris Christie is 5 times or 10 times better than what Donald Trump can ever become in politics. And between Chris Christie and Nikki Haley, that I think that is the hope for the Republican Party and the hope for America. I don't want to comment on Joe Biden. Whether Joe Biden is the next president of the America is okay. I'm just focusing on the GOP side. You will begin to see that Nikki Haley, the best candidate by far, the probably is probably not going to get the votes. She probably will perform badly because the things that matter to America, that matter to the world, the Americans who vote don't understand those things. They will just keep on make America great again, Donald Trump. And then there is these Christians who are going to come as well and say, God said Donald. I don't know which God they are listening to. I don't know which God they're listening to. Okay, I don't want to say anything that God told me about Trump, but I'm just using my own human brains, to see that this is not what is right for America and the rest of the world. And Nikki Haley, who understands the issues, who understands how great, how she understands that a great America means a safer world, a greater military of the United States that is present in the world is good for global security. But Donald Trump doesn't believe that. He says he wants to make America great, which is quite silly. How to make America great when you remove America from the World Health Organization, when you remove America from global organizations, when you remove America from the Middle East, that is a tumultuous place where America has to have boots on the ground always. Okay, and right now we have got Putin ravaging Africa, and America's presence is in Africa is very minimal. And what kind of global peace or what kind of peace in Africa can you get without the superpower present in Africa? So you have these rogue states like Russia, and these competitive states like China popping up all over Africa, destroying the whole ecosystem, spreading propaganda that makes Africans think that Vladimir Putin is their friends. So you see these African people and these American voters, they seem to be in the same group, of a self-destructive mode. And as I look at it, it stems from not understanding. Okay, people don't know, people don't read. That's the thing. People don't read, people don't study, they don't research, they just watch movies, Netflix, they just watch ESPN, they watch soccer. That's all that they do. They drink beer, they get drunk and they look for girls and boys, they have sex, and then the next thing we're asking them to vote, and then discover that they have not even researched anything. So they look for the prettiest guy, or the guy who other people seem to like. Like Donald Trump was just funny, or maybe he was just a celebrity. Just say, let's just vote for this guy. But they have got no understanding. Voter education is very low. I'm surprised. I mean, voter education is low even in the United States. The United States is the biggest economy, biggest, most powerful country in the world. The politicians of America know what they are doing. They really are the smartest people in the whole world. The even the American military and the American intelligence, the most intelligent in the whole world. What is letting them down is the American public, which insists on voting for a Trump presidency. On what basis? The fact that the American public, by and large, does not understand politics and what is good for them. Anybody can come and lie to them just because they are white people who are rednecks. Another white guy comes and speaks that white supremacy rhetoric. They just buy into it and they think that that is what is going to make America great. No, that is what makes America tiny. I am rooting for a greater America because I believe that a greater America means a safer world and a better world for all of us, and we have to guard against the rogue elements of Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping that want to destabilize the world order and the peace and the human rights that we are currently enjoying. Have a good night.